Okay, it is finally time for another you may not be able to buy product review. I mean, this is a Rocket League review. Alright, first things first, thank you MSI for passing us this box. We have already done an unboxing of this box in our YouTube short, which I uploaded last night. If you have not checked that out, make sure to do that. It's pretty awesome. Now we all know what Intel spends their marketing budget on.
Damn right we do.
I believe this is the reviewer's box. You will get something different when you buy off the shelf. But that said, because we all know that this is something that you may not be able to get, comment down below if you can get this CPU or its other Rocket League siblings tomorrow, launch day, or within a week, launch week. Okay, so a bit on the specs. The 11900K is 8 core 16 threads, base frequency 3.5 GHz, and you can turbo boost up to 5.3, which of course we all know is on paper. Yeah, right Gordon, it's on paper.
Yes, it's on paper.
Yeah, and the website also says TDP or 125 watts, which we agree is a total bullshit, because this guy definitely drinks more than 125 watts. We will show you that in the video later. But before we carry on, we realize most of our audience members are not subscribers. So if you like all of our awesome content, make sure to smash the subscribe button and the 100% bell to not miss out on any other future content. As for testing methodology, we are going to pit this 11900K versus the previous 10900K and the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X. We coined this the battle of the unobtainiums. Gordon came up with the word unobtainium because basically you can't buy any of these CPUs right now on the market. So we are going to put Intel CPUs, the 11900K and the 10900K inside our GAU, seated on the Sapphire 90 Tomahawk Wi-Fi with these other parts. And the Ryzen 9 5900X on our B550KB carbon Wi-Fi, that CPU behind you. Alright, you guys want to know how this guy actually runs against its competitors, so let's not waste any more time. Benchmark time! Okay, welcome to our benchmarking cozy corner.
Yeah, cozy corner indeed.
Yep. So right now we are going to go through both gaming and productivity. So Gordon, you may start first.
Okay, for this round of benchmarks, we are not going to include 4K results. At 4K, even the mighty RTX 3090 is going to be the main bottleneck, which will render any numbers pointless anyway. First, start off with CSGO. So at 1080p and 1440p, you can clearly see that while the 11900K is faster than its older sibling, it still can't really match up to the 5900X right over here, which is kind of surprising since, yeah, Intel always likes to tot the CSGO out in their benchmark, then it seems to disappear mysteriously. Now we know why. Yeah, so anyway, that's the gist of it. The 11900K is faster than its sibling, but gets beaten by the 5900X. Next, we come to Rainbow Six Siege. Now, in this one, however, both the Intel CPUs are faster than the Ryzen equivalent, the 5900X. The 11900K is a little bit slower than its older sibling, but I'll say the numbers we're seeing here is like few percent within margin of error.
Yep.
So we'll just treat it as though, yeah, the two CPUs are pretty much on par here. It is what it is.
Point of note, we are running R6 on Vulkan. So
Yeah, we are running this on Vulkan. So a lot of other reviewers will probably do this on
DX12.
No, sorry, DX11.
DX11.
11. So on this, we're going to use Vulkan because it's the newer API. It's faster on both NVIDIA as well as AMD Radeon GPU. So we decided to use that.
Cool.
Next, we come to Dirt 5. Now, Dirt 5 is where things start to get a little bit weird. Because even though the 11900K is faster than its older sibling, the 10900K, at both 1080p as well as 1440p, what we see down here is that they're both beaten by the 5900X. By not only a small percentage, but by quite a handful actually. We're looking at like, say like 10%, 15% at least?
Yeah.
At both resolutions. Yeah.
I think we mentioned in the previous video that Dirt 5 is an AMD title.
Yeah, it's an AMD sponsored title, so probably not only optimized for AMD Radeon GPUs, it's probably also optimized for AMD Ryzen CPUs. So yeah, that will probably explain the lopsided results we're seeing here. Next, we come to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, Assassin's Creed Valhalla here is a game that is very largely GPU bound, as we have seen in our previous reviews. The results that we are seeing here are not too surprising. All three CPUs lined up in more or less the same thing. On average, I would say the numbers that we are seeing here are like within 5% of each other, that kind of thing. Okay, at 1440p, also pretty much the same thing. We're looking at like 5%, that kind of thing. So this is a GPU bound title. They aren't going to see any differences here. Next, we come to Wolfenstein Youngblood. Now, Wolfenstein Youngblood, again, is also one of those that's a bit CPU bound, a bit GPU bound. We don't quite know where to put it, but we'll just get on to it. In this one, however, the 11900K comes out on top, followed by the 5900X, quite a fair bit behind, then followed by the 10900K. This one, I'll give the win clearly to the 11900K at the 1080p as well as 1440p. Yeah, it comes out right on top. As to why the numbers at 1080p and 1440p look almost identical, my best guess is that for this particular game, DLSS is enabled at 1440p but it's not enabled at 1080p.
Yeah, okay.
So at 1440p, it's just basically taking 1080p and upscaling it to 1440p.
Yeah, not much difference. It's just CPU bound all the way.
Next, we come to Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, we have elected to use DX12 with DLSS as well as ray tracing on. Now, if you look at here, it is somewhat CPU bound at 1080p. But the 5900X has a slight edge over the 10900K, not by much. Falling third in place, we have the 10900K. Next, we come to 1440p itself, where you see the same thing as well. The 5900X comes out on top. Okay, last but not least, we have a game that has been popularly requested by a lot of people. Since this game does not have a benchmark mode, we're going to use a particular scene from one part of the game. But in that particular scene, yes, the 11900K comes out on top, leading out the 5900X by slightly a bit at both 1080p as well as 1440p. In third place, by quite a bit behind, we have the 10900K.
This game is still very GPU bound. Actually.
Yeah, it's still very GPU bound in a sense, but you can see the CPU does play a part in this game as well.
Yeah, because you see from our FPS, even at 3090, it's still struggling to get good frames to actually play game.
Yeah, because we have DLSS set to auto as well as we're using the ray tracing ultra, so even the 3090 here is somewhat bound here as well. Now, as you've seen in some of the gaming benchmarks we have above, the 11900K does come out on top in quite a couple of the games, even against the 5900X and especially against its older sibling, the 10900K. However, when it comes to productivity, I am sorry to say that this is where the 11900K kind of falls flat.
Yep.
Even with the Intel Adaptive Turbo turned on to compensate for the loss of 2 cores and 4 threads, we can see that the 11900K only sits on par with the 10900K, its older sibling, and is handedly trashed by the 5900X. I mean, come on. 8 core 16 threads versus 12 core 24 threads.
Yep.
Yeah, how do you beat that? Next we come to V-Ray, where 5900X aka Smok decides to come out of his cave and slap both of them.
He walks out with a broomstick and sweeps all of them.
And sweeps both of them and then walks back into his cave to relax one corner, unfortunately. Because as you can see right over here, the 5900X is clearly beating the both of them. By not only a slight percentage, it's beating it by about, 30?
Yeah,
30 odd?
I calculated before, that's about 20-30%.
So from what we can see, if you're doing more than just gaming, the 11900K is probably not the best choice here.
Yep.
Next, we come to benchmarking temperatures. These are the temperatures that we got when we were running the productivity benchmark. This is where we are fully loading all the cores and threads on the CPU. And this is where things look even worse for the 11900K.
Yeah, mind you, we are running a custom loop on the Intel CPUs.
Yes, on the 11900K as well as the 10900K, we are running a 360mm custom loop. Whereas the 5900X has only the benefit of a EK240mm radiator. And despite this, however, the 11900K and the 10900K are posting really shocking temperatures as the 80s, somewhat the 90s, that kind of thing. The 5900X
Very cool.
below 70, yeah.
Go Intel.
Okay, I just thought I'll bring this into the equation because some of you may be wondering on the BIOS default setting, what kind of vCore voltages were we getting? We didn't tweak anything here. We just pretty much let the BIOS do its own thing. And what we got had our eyes popping out, especially for the 11900K. It had a vCore voltage of a shocking 1.45 volts. Wow.
There's already a threshold that we don't want to cross.
Yeah, let's put it this way. This is a threshold that most of us who are very familiar with playing with Intel CPUs. 1.45 vCore voltage is really high. Yes. It's called you don't want to go there. The 10900K automatically was drawing 1.35 volts. And the 5900X was drawing 1.18 volts. Next, we come to the all-core frequency. Now, for the 5900X, because of the way that the precision boost overdrive working on that. So it didn't really sit at 4.2 or deviated between 4.1 to 4.3, so we're going to leave it here as 4.2 average. The Intel CPUs are more consistent. When we were running Cinebench as well as V-Ray, they ran at this frequency constantly all the way. There was no throttling. Again, it was due to the 360mm custom loop we had sitting on top of them. So the 11900K, because we had the Intel Adaptive Turbo turned on, so all 8 cores and all 16 threads were running at 5.1 GHz, which will probably explain why earlier on the
1.45 boost.
The BIOS was trying to feed 1.45 volts into the CPU to maintain this 5.1 GHz.
That's right.
Yeah. The 10900K, however, was maintaining it 4.9 GHz. This is the default all-core boost.
Right.
5.1, 4.9, 4.2.
Okay, welcome back to our main stage. Okay, so yeah, we have seen all our productivity and gaming benchmarks. We have our Tiger Rattlers here. So, the main question is, do we recommend this guy? First thing, if you are a 10900K user.
Okay, if you're a 10900K user, I will say in a sum, don't bother. I just started up, don't bother.
Okay, if you're a 1500X user,
don't bother.
Okay, this brings us to the third party if you don't own any of this. Yeah.
Okay, if you don't own any of those, I will say it will depend. What are you actually primarily using your new computer for? If you are a dedicated hardcore gamer, the 11900K is a very good choice for you. Very fast. Okay, the 11900K has 8 cores and 16 threads. At 5.1 GHz, these are very fast cores and threads. And as you've seen in our gaming benchmarks, even against the 5900X and especially against its older sibling, the 10900K, 4.9 GHz versus 5.1 GHz all-core clock does make a difference in the gaming benchmarks itself. So if you are a dedicated hardcore gamer, yeah, then get this guy. Yeah. If you are a person who uses your computer for more than just gaming, your machine does 50% of the time on gaming and 50% on productivity, then I would say the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X would probably be a better choice than this. If you are moving up from any PC 4 years ago, probably coming in from an 8700K.
Yep.
If you're coming in from Ryzen, you're probably coming in from Ryzen 1st Gen. The reason we've decided to pit this guy against the 5900X in the benchmarks is because both of them come in at the same SRP of sort. Yeah, I quote SRP in inverted commas because the 5900X and this guy are predicting that they are both not going to be in very great supply. Yeah, but since they both more or less hover in the same range, so yeah, we've decided to pit them against each other. You see our benchmarks? And you heard of my conclusions?
Yeah, you can decide if you want to buy this guy. So if you like this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up. Mention earlier video. Let us know if you can buy this guy on launch day or launch week. Right down below. Make sure to come back to our channel because we are going to do a lot of things with this guy. How much time we have left? Gordon wants to sleep already. Alright, so goodbye.